War Boss Gutzmangul reluctantly decided it was time to leave. He was not the sort of orc to leave a scrap unfinished. But the words of Snickwit filled his mind with dreams of rejoining Gazgul's war and burning the galaxy to cinders.
Right, boys, Orkbot says it's time to go. All aboard! There's more fun to be had with the biggest boss that ever was.
The orcs slowly began to withdraw to the ancient ship that was now filled with enough war energy to take off. Many of the boys, though, were still charging gleefully into the seemingly endless PDF forces. The burner boy Spoon was left not really knowing what to do with himself. With Smasher gone and his burner busted, the orc pyromaniac was now little more than an orc boy with a promethium bomb on his back. He contemplating going out with a bang. But he decided he would rather have lots more Bernie scraps in the future, instead of one last big Bernie blast before he went to Gork and Mork and a big scrap in the sky. As Spoon turned to enter the ship, there was a strange rumbling sound. Then, the cacophony of battle seemed to fade away to nothing, as the air became strangely still. Then, the ancient stone shattered beneath the feet of the remaining boys before bursting apart with unnatural force. Air rushed by Spoon as an entire line of boys were spattered where they stood or flung into the air. It was like an enormous train had crashed right through the orcish lines. The sound all came rushing back as the cavern shook with the force of the blast. A single hooded figure strode onto the battlefield, wearing the insignia of the Inquisition, flanked by Arbites carrying what looked like riot shields.
Quit gulping and start shooting!
The orcs began laying down the big Daka, filling the air with as much lead as they could fire. Massive bullets impacted on the shields of the Arbites, staggering the Humies with the force of the blow. A few bits of Daka slipped by them, but a pale shield seemed to surround the Humie weird boy. Spoon briefly reconsidered his decision. Maybe he could make a big run at this Humie and frag the weird boy to Zog in one big boom. The air went silent again, before another beam of psychic energy ripped through the orcish lines, scattering the boys as if they were toy soldiers. Spoon quickly decided that discretion was the better part of valor in this instance, and began fleeing back toward the ship. Snickwit, War Boss Gutzmangul's shoulder grot, began to panic.
Boss, we ain't got no weird boys to fight that Yumi with their brains! Zog, what we gonna do?
Keep their brains busy! More Daka, boys!
War Boss Gutzmangul stood on top of a healthy pile of scrap and corpses and began to fire his big shooter in the general direction of the Psyker. Grum and the other looters in their death guns took positions around him and began to fire at the same target. The Arbites' shields were shattered one by one, but the Inquisitorial Psyker remained. The pale barrier protecting them began to glow more brightly with each piece of Daka striking against it. Gutzmangul bared his teeth. They just needed a little bit longer for the rest of the boys to get on the ship. The war boss and the looters were all backing away towards it. Meanwhile, Inquisitor Renault stood behind the Psyker. Destroy the war boss, and this whole thing ends right here. Kill him, and we can secure the artifact. As Gutzmangul, Grum, and the other looters poured fire at the Psyker, the war boss grinned as the shield protecting them suddenly seemed to rupture and splinter into 1,000 shards. They had broken through. Or at least that was what he thought before the blades of psychic energy floated before the assembled orc mob for just a moment, before launching forward at war boss Gutzmangul. The ground began to rumble as another psychic blast launched towards the clump of orcs. The wall of psychic energy surged towards the orc war boss. Gutzmangul could only shake his head. Even though he was in stout, proper mega armor, He knew that this weird boy stuff could slice right through him like butter. Downright gittish and cowardly by his reckoning. The war boss let out a final "War!" as he grabbed poor Grum and held him in front to see if maybe the smaller orc could absorb some of the psychic blast. But there was a strange whirring as a swirling, transparent wall of purple materialized in front of Gutzmangul. The psychic blast slammed into the barrier, powerfully impacting against it. But nothing passed through the shield. The voice of Orcbot ran out over the enhanced Vox system.
Right. Void shields. I think that everything is in working order. Now, get on, lest you want to get left behind. You don't gotta tell me twice. Oi, quit mucking with the Yumi weird boy and get on the cruiser.
No, damn it, no! Inquisitor Reynault rushed forward, trying to slip through the void shields herself, but the orcs had already climbed aboard, and the whole cavern rumbled and began to shake.
Find something to strap into, or grab onto something, if you don't want to go tumbling out that big stupid hole you lot blew in me side. Oh, shut it! How else was we supposed to get inside? I have a door, you know. Yeah, well, I couldn't find it. Speaking of not finding stuff, where the zog's the bridge on this thing? Hold on. Follow the blinky lights and watch yourself. We're in for a bumpy ride.
The ancient ship lurched forward, shuddering the old cavern and causing great hunks of stone and debris to break free from the ceiling, crushing many of the PDF members as the entire tunnel system threatened to collapse. Gutzmangul reached the bridge and looked out to sea. Well, very little. Just more rock and ancient, long-forgotten underhive structures.
How is we even getting out of this place? We're like zoggety million miles from the surface. Well, when you got antimatter weaponry, it don't matter.
There was a bright light, and a massive blast of strange energy erupted from the front of the ship. Gutzmangul shielded his eyes from the blinding blast. When he could see again, there was a perfectly circular tunnel that had formed in front of the ship, extending all the way towards a little speck of light in the distance.
What the song did you just do? What? Ain't you never seen Ducker blow a hole through 2 miles of underhive to the surface of a planet? Oh, Zog! Oh, Zog! This cruiser is dead fleshy! We's gonna frag everything to Zog. Oh, Yumis, Sparky gets pansies, cow, bug boys. Oh, they's gonna see what the orcs can do.
Gutzmangul laughed maniacally as the ancient ship suddenly accelerated, leaving the Inquisitor behind with nothing but rubble and corpses. The orcs that hadn't thought to secure themselves were slammed against walls as the speed of the ship increased. A few tumbled out of the hole that the orcs had torn in the ship.
It probably ought to seal that off.
Heavy blast doors closed automatically, sealing the exposed portion of the ship as Orcbot guided it. It wasn't long before the ancient Archaeotech ship erupted from the surface of the planet. The blast had caused panic in the streets, and the defenses of the city fired upon the fleeing ship. But each shell deflected harmlessly against the advanced shield technology of the ship. Gutzmangul watched as they fled from the planet. There was no way the governor had time to scramble ships to intercept them. However, there was one ship that seemed to be leaving the atmosphere at the same time.
Looks like we got a Yumi cruiser trying to scrap. Orcbot, get ready to dock that thing to pieces. Wait, we got something coming through the squawk box. Oh, yeah. Put it through. I want to yell at the Yumi before we frag 'em.
But when the Vox system crackled to life, Gutzmangul was shocked to find it was none other Then Captain Crump on the other line.
Oi, boss, it looks like you found yourself a proper flash cruiser. Crump, what you doing in that Yumi ship? Well, it's a long story, boss, but I made a proper deal, and I got me a proper ship, and now all I needs myself is a proper crew. You lot have fun with Gutzmangul and the big war, but it's a freebooter's life for me. Go on then, you mad big-headed git. I'll see you when Ragnarok comes. Right, boss. Till Mork makes us cross paths again.
Gutzmangul sighed as he finally escaped from that pit of a planet.
All right, Oakbot. Set a course for Gutzmangul. It's time to get you into a proper fight.
As the war boss gave the order, the sound of dozens of blast doors slamming shut filled his ears. Snickwit, the shoulder grot, raised an eyebrow.
What's going on?
You know the rule of the orcs. The biggest is the boss, right? Well, I's the whole ship. I'm boss now, and we're doing what I want to do. Thanks a lot for getting me out of that place. I ain't gonna go smashing stuff for some low-tech orc. It's time for me to be my own boss now. Don't worry, I got plans for you lot. I know how much you lot like fighting, so I have some metal boys in the way for you to play with. Can't have orcs mucking about in the insides. Have fun.
The vox cut out as the sound of metal footfalls began to echo through the ancient ship. No man do they call me. My mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Thank you all for listening to this last episode of the first series of Gutzmangul's Boys. It's not over yet, but I think I want to take a break and plan out Series 2 a bit and work on some other projects. This was one of the longest running series on the channel, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, please leave a comment and like that might help Gutzmangul figure out some ideas of how to get out of the situation. If you have not subscribed yet, I am trying to reach that magical 10K subscriber milestone, and I would love it if you could help me out with that. If you have absolutely no idea what's going on, you can watch Gutzmangul's story from the beginning by clicking on the playlist linked in the video. And if you would like to support the channel, you can join me on my Patreon for ad-free videos and extra behind-the-scenes videos to enjoy as well. Thank you all very much for your support. No Man out.